big. Welcome back everybody to another episode. We're out on the water. Beautiful day here. Been getting a lot of feedback on the videos, and one thing that a lot of people wanted to see or wanted me to talk about was what to do when the bite gets really tough. How to catch bass that won't bite anything else. So I'm out here on a body of water that I've kind of run into that situation before. Not so much because the bass are stingy, but there's an overload of bait in the areas that they're living in. So they got a buffet right in front of them. They don't really have to move far to get food, and that makes them super stingy. Usually big ones too. So we're gonna go out. I'm gonna go check these few spots that I usually find these fish, and I'm gonna show you a few tricks of how I get them to bite. Hopefully we catch a few walleyes in the process. The goal is some nice smallies today though. So stick around, let's go fishing. So we're out on the first zone. Big mixture here of bass and walleyes. We got a few finesse baits. We'll see what happens. We're gonna throw some stuff at them, see what we start getting bit on. Go from there. Molly. Woo. Gotta start somewhere. Okay. It's a little one, but kind of what I'm doing here is something I've found that works great when you're dealing with pressured bass. You know, these few spots, they get hit regularly. Fish see a lot of drop shots, they see a lot of Ned rigs. So a great alternative is a finesse jig. I'm not even really working it, I'm just throwing it out there and dead sticking it and letting that skirt expand. Something different, something they don't see all the time, and it'll get you a few more bites. Now let's see if we can get a good one. So I don't know, I was out there for 20, 25 seconds maybe, hardly moving it. And then all of a sudden, an aggressive pickup. And I mean, you know, it's not a big smallie, but there's a bunch of them down there and some of them are big. So, you know, on a day where they're not up on anything shallow and they're not hitting moving baits that much, you gotta find some tricky ways to catch them. And throwing a finesse jig over the usual stuff is a great way to do it. Slow is always better, boys. Slow is always better. So that story with the turtle and the rabbit, slow and steady wins the race. That's what they say. Kid stories are no joke. Keep soaking this little bait. Eventually I'm gonna soak it in front of a good one and catch a few nice ones today, hopefully. There was literally nothing. I felt nothing, and then all of a sudden I felt dunk. Like that. Again, this one's small. I'm telling you though, could go through here pitching a drop shot around or dragging a tube or throwing a top water or whatever. May not catch. Take your time and trust in the jig, and it can pay off sometimes. Gotta hold that line tight so that you can feel the pickup. Just waiting to feel them come over, pick it up, and hit them. First walleye of the day. Popped off and swam into the net. That's nice. See, I told you, there's a combination of walleyes and smallmouth a lot of the times on these spots. But same kind of deal. Throw the jig out, let her sit. That one didn't take long. That one hit it pretty quick. Super subtle bite, nice fish. Be 18, 19 inches, something along those lines. So I'm using this little 1/4 ounce finesse jig that my buddy Chris poured for me. It's got a sickle hook on it, which I love. I love the sickle hooks. I'm using a trailer today that I haven't really used too much as a finesse trailer. I've drop shotted these before, but it's that little G-Crack bellows gill. I'll really be impressed if it catches me a big smallie. It's a big one. Really don't want to lose him. Kind of baby him a bit. Just shaking his head down there. This one's learned how to get himself off before. Woo! Got him. Be persistent. Oh. Nice fish. Be persistent, slow, especially when you're dealing with bigger ones, and it can really, really pay off. That sickle hook has just pinned him perfectly. If I could give you guys one tip to put more smallmouth in the boat, start using sickle hooks on some of your baits. You would be amazed at the hook up to land ratio. Look how fat he is too. We're gonna put him in the box, try to catch one of his friends for a photograph. Woo! Just rammed his head into the side of the boat. Not as big as that last one. One thing as a smallmouth angler, you know, a lot of the times, if you're fishing a spot that has multiple fish and you throw one back, it can spook the others. So we're just gonna put him in the well until I'm done fishing this spot, then we'll let him go. Another big one on the Finesse jig. I'm using an 852 JWR NRX Plus, Mono X-Sense 3000. This is a bigger one. Big. Yes, sir. That's a that's a real big one, guys. Like a real big one. Woo! Finesse jig paired up with a G-Crack bellows gill. Like those sickle hooks, he's so pinned. I gotta get pliers for him. Boom. That is a giant midsummer smallie. I'm gonna put him in here with his friend because he also had a friend. Fished around here quite a bit, and I've learned that unless you throw something that's different, a little bit different, something that not everybody's gonna throw at them, a lot of the times they see that drop shot and they just start cruising the other direction. I've seen it way too many times. This Finesse jig with a little bit of bluegill imitation there. A lot of the time smallies are eating bluegills, small little juvenile bluegills. This thing catches good ones. Shout out Chris for making me this little jig. Kind of scattered these ones. Gonna bounce spots, fish around for a bit. Release those two that we got in the well because it's hot and I don't need to keep them in there. We'll come back in a little bit. All right, it's hot out, so we're gonna let these guys go. That's a good start to the day. Hopefully we can get a few more. Hard to upgrade from almost a 5-pounder, but you know, give her a shot. One of my favorite ways to get stingy smallmouth to bite too is doing what I call rocking the bait. I feel like I've said it in quite a few videos, but a lot of the times less action is more. And it's definitely the case when it comes to fishing finicky smallies. What I mean by rocking the bait is I'll cast it out at these fish, let it go down to bottom, and similar to what I was doing in that first spot where I was doing the dead stick approach, just kind of laying it there in their zone, waiting for them to come over and pick it up. In this case, I'm kind of rocking the bait. So I'm moving it, but I'm making sure I'm not moving the head. I'm just maybe rocking it back and forth, letting that trailer dance, keeping it in the same spot. And it's great if you have live scope and you're able to pitch at these fish and watch them kind of go down. You know, okay, there's a fish looking at my bait. You work that bait too much and you're not gonna catch that fish. A lot of the times, as soon as you work it too much, they lose interest and swim off. But if you can just rock it in that same spot, it can trigger some of those bites. I'll grab this guy. Ooh, easy release. Persistence pays off sometimes, boys. Oh, I want to land this fish. Got her. Got her. Whew. All right. That's another good one. Man, the Finesse jig has been so good today. That fish came out of the water. I thought it was scary big. Still though, 4-pounder. just in the nose. Stay on, girl. Holy smokes. Yeah, it's not easy to get them to bite. Woo! This one's putting on a show for you. Stay on. Yes, sir. Oh. And that's another, close to 4. Anyways, 3 and changer probably. Another 3-pounder. Got him. That's fun. Lots of fun. This will color that 2-pounder I got. Woo. Oh yeah. That's bigger than 2 pounds. 3-pounder. We got a whole fleet now. Well, that was a fun day of smallmouth fishing. I kind of thought they were going to be really tough to bite and I was going to have to cycle through baits. I've had to do that out here. But the Finesse jig did it all for me. Let's have a look at these fish and then let's go. Boom. And boom. Thanks for watching this video, everybody. Bash that subscribe button. Like it if you enjoyed it. Follow myself, 2B_fishing. Summertime smallmouth bass, and let's go. See you in the next one, guys.